bit more clumped up with the playoffs, but that's okay. We'll make it work out. As right now, we've got a match that a lot of people like to see. Anytime you got our boy ByuN in here, Blue Terran upper right-hand side, you know it's going to be some good fun. And he is taking on DRG down in the bottom left-hand side, our red Zerg player. You know, I do think that this is maybe call me crazy, but I think this is the first time DRG's played in a WardiTV event. I'm trying to think back. Like, he hasn't played in a lot of them, that's for sure. It's definitely going to be one of the first ones he's played in. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else he played in, though, if I, like, off the top of my head. Anyway, really cool to have him here as we get him going into this best-of-3 series. As we go into Jagannatha on map number 1. Jagannatha usually one that does get vetoed out. I don't actually know what ByuN vetoed here, though, so maybe I go double-check that after. But, yeah, Jagannatha making it through. I actually think this was DRG's map pick. I think they vetoed Beckett. I think they vetoed Blackburn. Yeah, I guess DRG would probably veto Oxide as well. And then maybe ByuN vetoed 2000? I'm not sure. I'm honestly, I'm making it up right now because I really don't know what the other maps are, so I'll just shut up with that one. Yeah, I'm going to take the chance just to say in case this one goes up on YouTube, but, you know, it's a ByuN series, it's a TvZ, it's ticking all the YouTube boxes, right? It's got all the ticks next to all of the things that make for a good YouTube video. So if this does go up on YouTube, guys, just want to say hello and thanks for watching on the YouTube channel. Do not forget to like the video if you end up enjoying it. If you really do enjoy it, do subscribe to the channel as well. We are slowly making our way up on the subscriber count. We dropped from having 2,000 plus subs a month on YouTube to about 200 a month. So we're slowly grinding our way toward the toward the world of 34k subs. It's been a bit of a readjustment period, but I appreciate you all still watching and tuning in. And thanks for enjoying the games on YouTube as well. Alright, so Jagannatha here for game number 1 of the best of 3, and obviously so far just going to see the factory down, and we are going to see a second gas. Okay, well that's already a little funky out of ByuN. Double gas and not going 3cc. I mean, it's not like funky. It's just, you know, going to go 3 command centers, so it does mean we're going to see something a little bit more aggressive on the side of ByuN this time around, rather than something a little bit more macro-focused. And he's going to go double factory. I was going to say, there was another SCV pulled out over here, and I was kind of wondering, is that going to do something? He sent it back to mining, but it's a second factory as well. So ByuN, here's the plan. He's going to tech lab up this factory. He's going to go Infernal Pre-Igniter. That's a blue flame for the Hellions. And he's going to have a lot of Hellions very early in the game to come running at DRG with that blue flame. And that can be very, very scary to deal with. That does typically turn it around. And you know, kind of switching to bio from this. We'll see if that's ByuN's plan. I mean, ByuN is very much so a bio player as well. He does not really mech a lot of the time. I feel like the day that ByuN plays mech is the day we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and ask what's gone wrong. You know, what did I do to end up in this timeline? Because it's just not ByuN at all. And again, this does typically transition into bio. While it is double factory, you just end up going into double siege tank production early, and then you have a very powerful marine tank army already. You can be very aggressive off of that as well. You can still keep some Hellions up to be aggressive with as that Reaper tried to move on through, drop the grenade to try and pop the Lings back, but he popped his Reaper back as well. So the Reaper survives, but doesn't get into Scout, which would have been just a nice additional bit of info. Altogether, this Reaper had a good time. 2 creep, 2 kills, and a drone. I mean, this Reaper's had a wild time across the map on its own. That's a fantastic start out of ByuN for sure. The mirror replies wrists, yeah. Hey, ByuN actually announced yesterday that with the help of his team, Shopify Rebellion, that he's actually going to be seeing people to look at his wrists and to work on getting it treated properly. It's very nice to hear. But happy to hear about that as we do see our Hellions and our Reaper making their way out across down toward the bottom left-hand side. The lair is building on the main base of DRG, getting that up and running. The Banal Nest sitting on the natural. These Hellions actually going to run by into the natural as well, so in we go. Remember, they've got Blue Flame, and DRG does not really have a lot to deal with Blue Flame right now, as, you know, it's basically just Lings. There's going to be 4 Hellions left here, chasing those drones down. Good Evo Chamber block on the top side. Made the Hellions go the other way. Now the drones go back out via where the Evo Chamber was. These Hellions are still here. Now Hellions showing up on the 3rd base, but Lings are over there to deal with this, and Well, I gotta say that overall, it's a very clean defense from DRG. This is the sort of attack which can absolutely end games. And I would say that DRG, he does take some damage from it, 8 drones, but it's a lot of Hellions given up. It was that early game investment to Blue Flame. And yes, he lost some mine time, but when you're unprepared against this, this could have gone so much worse, right? There is absolutely a world in which this could have been, you know, DRG losing entire mineral lines. The way he handled the main base drones, I think, especially, was very cool. Putting the Evo chamber down to block the Hellions, and when the Hellions commit to the other side, cancel that and use that route to get your drones out of there once again, and just to keep them away from the Hellions as much as possible. And that is due to the Sim City here, right? That spawning pool makes it so the Hellions can't just dive through as well. It was very good. The Sim City early in the game here is definitely helping DRG out big time. Now, ByuN's in a decent position, obviously. He does kill a good amount of drones. He's killed enough drones, I think, to pay for the early game investment into these Hellions. Blue Flame's still around, and he will still build a few more Hellions and get those on the map again as well. So I don't think ByuN is upset with what he got done. I think it's, you know, credit to DRG for not taking game-ending damage. But ByuN still puts himself in a reasonable position, getting a whole bunch of extra creep tumors here. These Hellions might be in some trouble. Going to dive for the little choke point here, and does get a few more Zergling kills off of that. Additional Hellions all joining up as we do see the drilling claws building. Siege tank coming through on that factory, and just going to see Hellions still moving around. They're scary with this Blue Flame, honestly. It's a big threat, but I would still say DRG handling it well. Getting this drilling claws coming through, just taking advantage of having the earlier second factory. Again, there's two things you can do. You can either jump across to a faster second tech lab on a factory, and you can go double tank production, or this drilling claws and the widow mines. You really have a choice of either, depending on how you want to play. And you know, with DRG, because DRG doesn't play roaches against this, I think that's why you go widow mines primarily here. If you played like a roach defense against this, you likely go double siege tank production, then you can defend against roach counterattacks, right? You know, if he goes a lot of roaches to defend, then he's like, okay, I can build a lot of roaches now and get aggressive. Yeah, there's a lot you can do there, as we just see these Hellions of ByuN still hanging out on the right-hand side. These queens joined up together, and again, Ling Bing continuing to produce on out. Our melee upgrades are coming on through as well. Just going to be seeing this hatchery out the front of the 5th base. Again, that are ready to go as our Ling Bing continues down. You see a couple of these widow mines going to start to unload. Those Banes just blew. Was that all on just one widow mine? I don't think the widow mine didn't go off. I think the widow mine just got blown up by Banes. Maybe I missaw that. So I was looking at where the second widow mine was going to at the same time. These widow mines continue. Now 16 drones have gone down, so damage is racking up a little bit for ByuN. There's that widow mine in the natural as well. That's the one I couldn't find initially there. As this medevac backs away. This medevac has one widow mine left in it as well, so can maybe get ready to go for this again. Is just going to be seeing our widow mines and marines continuing down the bottom. Well, that's mixed in with this as well. Widow mines don't burrow up just yet. As it's kind of like Solo's armies just sat there. I mean, both armies were kind of just sat here looking at each other. What was this fight? Oh my god. This fight was so ridiculous. Obviously, they're focused on this run by. The Banes just busted through, and these Lings ran in, but I actually have no idea what... I must have just been focused on that, because both players were kind of just sat, not burrowing mines. At first, I thought ByuN didn't want to burrow the mines because he just didn't want to, you know, the mines to go off on the first few units, but then he continued to not burrow the mines. I mean, Solo's army was just sat up on that high ground as well, and yeah, with the mines unburrowed, that's when you send everything forward, right? That's when you at least try and get the mines to burrow, then you split away. That was, that was funny. Okay. Well, just going to be seeing the Lings and the Banes continuing up from DRG in the center, and we get ready to go again. Sorry, did I just say Solo? I meant DRG, of course. My bad. Too many Zergs in one day, guys. Got my mind on the last Zerg player. DRG there was a little slow to jump with his own units. We're going to see these Widow Mines burrowing up, and we are going to have... Well, that was one... He did get killed off. I was going to say that's terrifying if it gets burrowed. It's always scary because they burrow so quick, but if there is detection there, it should still go down before it gets burrowed up, unless you have a really good kind of hiding hole for it initially. This Widowmine from the natural came back in, actually on the main base too, so the Widowmine drops all the way throughout that ByuN is using. We saw the style kind of dissipate a little bit in TvZ, this kind of Widowmine drop heavy meta, but yeah, ByuN using it effectively, and he's actually going into, you know, tank production behind this at home, so it feels like his main army is looking to be tank focused, while obviously he's using a lot of Widowmines to harass and put himself into a better position initially. Now that said, he only has one factory producing tank, so it's not very quick tank production. He only has one out right now, a second on the way. He's also got a couple Liberators out as well. I don't mind it. I think tank Liberator is the way to go against what is the now incoming Lurker Den. So I think that's definitely taking steps in the right direction, as the couple of Widowmines over here just hanging out in the medevac. I'm just going to be seeing the rest of these queens all pushing the creep back up into the center of the map. I mean, I wonder when ByuN sort of, takes his factory off that reactor and goes into, you know, full-on siege tank production, because it is kind of getting to that point where he probably needs it against the army that DRG is getting. And just as I was about to get onto the point, he was doing just that, so yeah, moving that factory away to the side and getting himself towards additional siege tanks here. Vikings on the way up too, so he's looking to zone out some Vipers, I'd imagine. And he's also going to drop down our Ghost Academy. So we really are setting up into a little bit of a later game TvZ right now. As our Bioforce presses forwards. Going to have Ling, Queen, Hydra, Bane coming through as well, splitting up a little bit. We do have ByuN backing off up to the top side. Couple of Vikings still in the sky here. Tanks are sieging. And we've got ourselves this army of DRG moving on to the left now. We've got a lot of Banelings on the way up on this left-hand side. Lings and Hydra's going to go and jump on top of this set of rocks. Open up the map. As DRG maxes out again, we'll see how many Lurkers he wants to start involving in his game. He's about to have Seismic Spines, which is the real first step of, you know, being able to actually utilize Lurkers in the army properly. Seismic Spines really does give you that range. It does so much. We're going to see the double knives as well, so very Dark-esque, you know. I think Dark does this more than anybody else, but double Niduses in your main base, try and get Lurkers up over there. If you let Lurkers into this main, your production gets camped. All this pretty lined up production, it goes down. You are going to have an absolute nightmare of a game from there on out, because then you just can't reproduce. It can be a game ender. You need to make sure you're shutting down those Niduses. You cannot let them control you, because that's what they will do as well. They will force you into certain positions. They will force you to kind of play out, you know, and to move in certain ways. And if you don't get on top of them, they will cause you a lot of trouble. And it's not like you can just counterattack, because there's a lot of creep spread, so any attack you have to go for right here now as ByuN is going to be pretty slow. Yeah, it's gonna be a little tough, as you see our Lingbane Hydra Force back around into the center. It's gonna come through. A Baneline goes off on a single Marine at the front there. A little bit of creep spread still pushing out. Large Lingbane Hydra Force making its way around the left-hand side. That's gonna be joining up. Bunch of Spine Crawlers setting up from DRG out in the corner, as we do see our a little bit of Ling Force jumping up. Planetary Fortress is going to get to work. A few of these Lings being picked away at. Well, there's just nothing to protect this Planetary at all. ByuN is a few units on the right. He just doesn't move at all. So he's going to just continue to sit on 4 bases for the moment. I don't think 4 bases is so terrible for him, but, you know, at some point you do want to get up to 5. And that's the big thing here. Actually moving into the 5th command center and actually getting that mining as well. Making yourself comfortable with this. I can't believe he actually has... I guess these CCs aren't too far along building. I guess by the time you float over, maybe a new one's not so bad to just build in location. Liberator is sieged up on top of the Planetary Fortress there. Our bio units, our ghosts, joining up still as the Lingbane Hydra Force comes back around into the middle of the map. Viper's still sat out overhead. 3 melee upgrades all on the way through. These couple Niduses on the front settled down as well. It's going to be seeing our Banelings of DRG. Going to be coming across over to this right-hand side. Move up. We're just going to be seeing the siege tank getting picked up. Another little abduction here. Tank goes down. Multiple tanks being brought into play. Just going to have our Lean Bane Force continue to come through as well. Hydra Brain pulls it back to the middle of the map right now, and just going to be seeing 12 more Hydras, Viper, 40 Lings on the way up, a couple of Spires as well, all coming through. This army of DRG continues to settle down on the left as... Here's the thing, ByuN is playing for the extreme late game at this stage, right? He is sat back, he is camping out, he knows he is not going anywhere for any kind of, you know, anytime soon. So this game really is going to go very slowly, and it really is going to be a case of how well does DRG trade out with ByuN. Fight into positions like this, probably not very. And that's actually a lot of DRG army going down. I just don't think he needs to attack here. I mean, look at this. All you need to do, if you can hold this base, so maybe you hold this high ground, but even this base you don't need right now. You've got a lot of time later in this game to take the bases of ByuN if you want to. I don't think you need to rush to take that base just yet, and especially because taking that fight is one of the reasons that you need those bases. You know, trading as inefficiently as that is going to put you in a position where you must take ByuN's bases away from him and mine them with him not mining them. And that's the thing, right? If you don't take that fight, well, it actually removes the necessity of this base. But by taking this fight over here, now you need this base more than you needed it before. So it's kind of like a double loss. Like I say, you've got a little while where you could realistically kind of take this into a later stage of the game and, you know, mine these bases like 5 minutes from now. You know, like I say, it doesn't have to be right now. First nukes are coming up as we're going to be seeing the lurkers taken to the stage as well. Going to work their way through the rocks on the upper left-hand side. Again, lurker force moving around the left side as well. Planetary Fortress is morphing in. He's replaced this base which he had up here before as well. That's how you know ByuN's looking to play mega late game. A planetary to protect this orbital on the right side. He's pretty serious about keeping this up. It's cool though, right? Because now you can lift this base up and land it back down instantly if you come under attack. And when the attack's being cleaned up. And it just means that you don't have to, you know, send a new CC over here to replace it, right? You can just lift it, save it, put it back down, and you're back to mining right away. And the planetary, you still have the power of a planetary to protect this position too. Sensor towers all across the map are going to make it difficult for DRG to really get into the bases of ByuN. DRG just getting these gases up down here. I was just going to say, it feels like he's just going to need to mine gas from everywhere because that's what he's lacking on at the moment when you look at the banks. The scan comes down, sighting out a little bit of creep spread. Vikings moving through, the bio army coming in as well. A couple of these queens being picked off. Now, a lot of creep team is starting to go down as well. We're going to scan a second time. He's coming up, just a little bit of bio loading up. Going to back away a little further. Unloading once again as we're going to be seeing the army on this right side. Trying to figure out which way to go. On the left, we've got Lings and Lurkers. Picks off the hatch on the right. So, I mean, ByuN is denying DRG from taking his side of the map. Resources lost about an 8k difference. So keep that in mind, 7 to 8k difference. Because that'll just help you kind of realize how some of these trades go further down the line, right? It'll just help you to, you know, help us to judge how good a fight was for either side. As DRG is running forward onto a bit of bio right here. It is just about going to be able to stem back. There's a couple of tanks firing. And keeping this army back as well. Going to be seeing the lurkers kind of wanting to come through still, but not all out. Going to see rapid reignition system, so the medevac boost upgrade. I mean, at this stage of a game, you may as well go for a bit of everything, right? You may as well just commit into a bit of anything and everything you can get your hands on. Is going to turn this Lingbane lurker force around as well, going up toward the top side. More scans continuing through, keeping an eye out on the rest of this army. Some ghosts going to line up some snipes. A couple of queens being picked away at. These changelings are going down as well. Going to line up a nuke just on top of the Hummy, which if you can get off, well, that'd be fantastic. But Solar's just sorry, not Solar. DRG just says no. For some reason, I've really got Solar in my mind today. DRG just says no and kind of jumps on that ghost, but he loses a lot. Remember, we're talking about 7 or 8k difference. It's now going to be a 9k difference in resources lost. So it's definitely, again, a ByuN favorite trade. I wouldn't say that's so bad, though. Losing out on 1,000 there. I mean, part of it is busting down that planetary. That's actually a pretty good chunk of resources, right? 400 minerals, then you morph the planetary in, which is a bit of minerals and gas, too. It's like you don't really know. You never really thought about how expensive it is to actually have a planetary fortress. It's not a lot, you know, it's not gas expensive, but it is mineral expensive, right? At the end of the day, I know it's just it's like a CC with a bonus on top. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. I never really thought about it like that. Jeez. That's crazy. I just look, for some reason, just looking at it from a different point of view. Yeah, it's going to be these ghosts getting caught a little bit again. Are they too far forward? The lurker shots do not get them. So ByuN gets away again. Once more, DRG finds himself in a bit of a nasty trade. A 10,000 resource loss difference now. And that's still increasing as ByuN chases forwards there. The speedy lurkers with creep and his acceleration zone running through to try and chase those units back. As ByuN wanted to try and capitalize on a couple final kills towards the end there. Again, what ByuN's planning eventually is once he starts mining out of an additional base or two, he will start to take this base, and then he'll camp out on this base and take this base. And as long as he can eventually mine from all bases, ByuN will win this game with how DRG is currently trading. And I like that DRG now adds to his composition, going into that Infestor, making sure that that's going to be up and running here, and getting that fungal growth out onto the map. That's going to be a big part of just helping against those ghosts, taking away the snipes, keeping them in position, and maybe guaranteeing some kills that you might not usually be able to go for. It's going to go for a bit of a different angle. This one's going to be a good start of this. I think you get rid of some units there right away. That's really nice. A couple of abducts on ghosts as they try and snipe down anything and everything they get in range of. Some Bane's going to run forward. They're going to turn for some Marines. There is tank fire to support this. It feels like for the first time in a long time, ByuN is actually the one coming out down on supply and having to rebuild after a fight. Resources lost remains the same, 10,000 difference. So this was a much better trade from DRG, and he really needed a better trade as well. You know, trading actually just evenly and not letting ByuN get further ahead in the resource loss difference definitely goes a long way. As we're going to see the bio units right now going to come through, going to take down these couple of Niduses, so they're going to get cleaned out. I mean, I like it. The moment that, you know, the sensor towers are gone, you're moving Overseer up into position, and boom, you jump and try and get Nidus in the main. But ByuN just going to say, nope, that's not allowed. DRG going to try and take one of the bases of ByuN, as ByuN has stepped forward to take a base himself during that last attack. So he is going to start mining off the left. Let's see if he can stop DRG from taking the right side, and see if he can comfortably keep that left base up and running and bring it into play properly. So it's going to be coming up here at the moment. Not going to see a commitment in just yet. 23 minutes have passed so far, and Jagannatha is... Ghosts continue to move around. The rest of this army moving into the center of the map, and just going to be seeing DRG. I think he might go for a bit of a push in. I mean, I don't like this one as much as previously. There's more tanks here than there was before. And he spent so much time fighting the initial planetary fortress. Well, that was expensive for DRG. It's a 2,000 resource loss swing. And I know I keep talking about resources lost, but it is the best way to judge how these fights are going. You know, until one of these players comes out of a fight and can't rebuild, the most important thing we can look at is how, you know, how they traded in this fight, because, you know, how are their resources being used up? Well, you know, like I said, DRG uses 2,000 more resources than ByuN in this trade, and that's something which becomes a problem as a game. The question becomes, do you find a way to fight down on this right-hand side? A few snipes coming down, Hydra's being picked away at. Look again picked off, rest of the ghosts coming back down. Just going to be seeing this kind of Hydra lurker force chilling out over here. A couple of additional tanks and the +2 ship weapons coming in. $12 more brutes coming in, nuke coming out, a couple of additional liberators coming out. Just going to be seeing the rest of our spore crawlers of DRG out up the right-hand side. Now we do have a couple of additional tanks pressing forward. Ghost coming through as well. Going to try and line up a few snipes or so. Going to put a nuke down onto that set of spore crawlers. Here come the snipes to get a few lurkers, and actually going to do very well with this. EMPs come down, hit the Vipers too. Fungal growth goes down. As the nuke comes in, these overseers probably have to move off. They do not, 2 of them fall. And this is really going to be the point of contention. DRG has kind of let ByuN have the left side base, but that comes at the price of him wanting to defend the right side base. Here come the Brute Lords, as we're going to see the Ghosts going to try and snipe through these, try and survive. Hits by the fungal growth, that means they can't snipe, and this is not going to be a pretty trade from ByuN. Loses a chunk of Ghosts, and quite frankly, his answer to the Brute Lords at the moment is somewhat non-existent, so hurts a little bit. As we're going to be seeing SCVs pulled into this fight, 13 of those go down. Going to be seeing our nuke on the way up in the main base, bringing that up and running. There's going to be seeing additional infestors on the way out. And these ghosts are rallying out from ByuN, from the main base, going to rally to the center and see what we can do from there. This Lurker's run up and gonna get a little bit stuck, gonna get shot down, one of them right away. On the right hand side, we've got a group of units from DRG still kind of hanging about. Gonna see our Spore Crawlers pushing up to this high ground, and a couple of ghosts gonna get snipes off, clean out a couple of Overseers. Nice Infesta EMP, just getting rid of that. It did get its fungal out though, but it obviously didn't hit anything. Pressured by the EMP to cast sooner than he would have liked to cast. How much gas is left here? 26. ByuN. Okay, so here's what ByuN could do. ByuN could give up on this position, and he could maybe try to give up on the right and push the left and try and deny some of the gas mining still in this left side base. There's still a few hundred minerals here, so if he was able to... There's not much gas there, though. Gas is an issue as you go on in this game, for sure. Ghost's going to find a bunch of Broodlords for free. Nice snipes. Going to take advantage of that. Obviously, this army of DRG has really advanced in the last little while, right? The move from what was just the kind of, you know, the Hydra Lurker Bane Force, now the Broodlord Corruptor Infestor army. But that was a hell of a set of snipes from ByuN, and those are Broodlord losses which I don't think DRG can necessarily afford moving on from here. More snipes continue to come down. These couple of queens are going to be in some trouble as well, so they keep on dropping off. Now we're going to be seeing the creep chambers being cleaned out as well. We pull back up through the middle of the map. DRG losing out on 10 workers. I'm just going to see some command centers and turrets coming up, as this was big for ByuN, because by winning this fight he's been able to clean up this base at the same time. And now ByuN's going to take away the lifeline of DRG. Guys, you remember I was talking about 10k, 11k, 10k resource loss? It's now 21,000 resources lost difference. That is horrendous. That's to the point where DRG could actually mine a base of ByuN, and ByuN would probably still outmine DRG in the game. That's how badly that fight just went for DRG. Those snipes on those Broodlords were so good for ByuN, and it's only just increased here now, 23k difference. My friends, I think we've got a Terran victory on the way in this TvZ map 1 on Jagannatha, as ByuN has just been trading way too freaking good. And he's actually pushing forwards now, dropping a couple of EMPs here, protecting his ghosts, EMPing some queens. Kind of surprised we didn't see any snipes lining up there. As he backs it off and is not going to get too aggressive, he cleans out a lot of the creep and is just able to push back so much control of the map that DRG once had. Like I said, this base is going to come up over here, and DRG, he's actually out of money. That bank is absolutely gone. No minerals left in it. Wow. What a great way to start this. You guys remember when I said this game had all the check marks for YouTube upload? Well, that list of check marks has only grown. As a Liberator Siege is going to force a couple of drones back and just slow mining down, right? Infesta needs to be careful. Don't want to lose that for no reason at all. Here's the thing, you know, ByuN still has this army over here. The thing is, now you're going to protect this fresher base, right? So you're going to protect the right side. And that does give him maybe the chance to start pushing down the right and maybe to aim to deny this base of DRG. Just controlling this area in general. He doesn't have to go too quickly or anything along those lines. He can play it slow. And as this nuke is lining up, that ghost isn't even cloaked. It will go down. The nuke will not land. And DRG can't even get maxed out again as Broodlords fly on in. Soulful's going to get taken down. A couple of Blinding Clouds going down on the Thors. Going to get some Neurals off. I mean, this looks like a better fight than what we've been seeing from DRG. And these Broodlords make a difference right now. The Ghost can't seem to get into the fight at all, and ByuN is losing a little bit, but the Thors are coming into the fight, and the Thors are starting to make some pickoffs. ByuN is having to back it up a little bit. He's got a lot of units in production, and maybe he ends up losing this right side base again. Broods are still chasing forward. The Ghost unable to find snipes in too high a number, and well, EMPs come down. It's going to remove all the infestors from the game, though, and that gives the Ghost way less concern as they press on forward. Some snipes going off every so often. The Broods are going down. Still, ByuN will hold in the end. I mean, that was the better end of a fight that we've seen DRG take in a little while. I mean, I guess anything was an improvement on the previous few fights. 30 minutes, and ByuN is the winner of... Alright, we're going to go to the bottom right side of the map with our red Terran player who is up a game. This is ByuN. In the top left, our blue Zerg player, it is going to be DRG from Team NV. As we get this ready to go. Game number 2 of this best of 3 series. I really thought we were going to crash out again. I was ready for it, guys. I thought it was about to happen. But we survived. On we go with the action. Now, it is going to be proxy racks in the middle of the map here, so ByuN is going to change the pace of this series a little bit from the last game. Let's just see a couple of racks coming through. And this Overlord is going to completely miss it, so DRG is unaware as to what is happening just off to the side, and that is unfortunate. The middle of the map proxy racks is currently working out here for ByuN. Alright, so Color Marine's going to start up, and we are going to be rallying forward again. Oh, DRG did make a cut. He does see this. Okay, so good cut across with the Overlord. Does get information on the proxy racks. That is good news. So at least he'll be able to somewhat mentally prepare, pull drones. You know, it is a big thing, right? Being able to be in your mind aware of what you're about to do versus having to make it up on the fly. There's two SCVs. I love this. They come forward real early. Obviously, the drones want to try and deny this bunker. That's the whole point of this. As the drone pull comes in, that should be a cancel initially on the bunker here. Additional Marines all coming through. There's a lot of drones pulled, and ByuN actually falls back quite a bit. And here come the drones again. As oh, don't like this for ByuN. He's going to get surrounded by one of the on one of the Marines. So DRG is able to pick that off. Now these Marines trying to come back in. The SCV's actually providing the high ground vision. There's a lot of Lings out now, though, right? So this way it's going to become a little tough. ByuN's going to have a factory building at home, but he doesn't actually have an add-on on it yet, so there's a gap in the wall up. And even if you have to build an add-on there, it's going to be a little tough as well. These Lings are going to continue across the map, as ByuN is just going to relocate his barracks to allow for the Marines to come back down to the bottom right. It's a bit of a guessing game right now. Where are the Lings at? And all of that sort of stuff. This one Ling, does the factory get an add-on in time? ByuN could have built it, but he did not. It's actually a big deal because now you've got a Ling in your main base. You got to worry about that a little bit. It's going to go for a Mule, which is about to die anyway, so could be worse. Well, ByuN is going to keep building Marines, but unlikely he's going to find much opportunity with them. You know, I say that, maybe. If you get a little bit overly greedy here as DRG, right? This is not a ton of Lings. The Marine count's still coming up, and DRG, I mean, he knew the racks were still there. I mean, these two Queens have no real support. They've just used their energy on creep. Okay, let's see what happens here. This is going to be interesting because I feel like these Lings are not going to last long at all. Then the Queens are going to start going down. I feel like DRG's been a bit too greedy. Like, he just didn't respect the fact that these Marines might still try to attack. And ByuN's going to start picking up some drones. He's going to go the other way. He's going to get the Queen. And that's going to be GG. ByuN's going to win the 2-0. As the Marines just came back in and they're going to win it out just like that. Beautiful. Beautiful.